Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the McMichael. I'm Upkar Arora, Chair of the McMichael Canadian Art Collection, Chair of the Board of Trustees. I was standing at this podium just this past June when we opened the exceptional new installation of the gallery's renowned permanent exhibition. At that time, I told our guests that they were witnessing significant, bold change that starts from within. Today's events mark a continuation of the objectives we established 4 years ago, and today we're celebrating the realization of a very important part of that plan, the blending of the indoor gallery experience with the gallery's spectacular outdoor surroundings. Today we are extremely pleased to announce the extraordinary gift to the McMichael collection of 9 monumental sculptures by Winnipeg-based Canadian artist Eyre, which will be featured in our sculpture garden. At this point, I would like to introduce my colleague and chair of the Foundation Board of Directors, Michael Johnston.
We are a group of volunteers who work on a number of funding priorities considered to be vital to the continuing provisions of a high-quality experience for the gallery. And supporting the sculpture garden falls in line with this purpose. Collectively, we have been working toward the achievement of this major initiative for some time, and we are thrilled to announce this generous donation from Eyre, which will launch the sculpture garden in the McMichael Canadian Art Collection. I'd like to share with you a quote from Martha Graham, one of the best-known teachers and choreographers of modern dance. "No artist is ahead of his time. It is his time. It's just that the others are behind the time." In our opinion, this is how we have to come to think of Eyre. Ivan is his time. The McMichael Canadian Art Collection is extremely fortunate to have already received generous gifts towards the project, and I would like to acknowledge the Richardson Foundation from Winnipeg that has donated $150,000 and wishes to have the powerful North Watch sculpture named on its behalf. Now I'm proud to introduce to you the person with whom we envisioned and realized this dream, our outgoing Executive Director and CEO of the McMichael Canadian Art Collection, Tom Smart.
Some art galleries and museums fulfill their mandates and support their collections by erecting buildings. The McMichael believes that the realization of its mandate is showing in tangible ways the important and inextricable link between art and nature in our country's art history. A sculpture garden, as part of a larger plan to create multiple attractions and exhibitions on the beautiful grounds, fulfills this goal while also enabling the McMichael to expand its programming capacity by utilizing all of the wonderful assets at the gallery, not the least of which is the collections of works of art. A gift of 9 magnificent original works of art, editioned bronzes, is rare in Canadian art. The McMichael is blessed and elevated by Eyre's gift, which adds a profound depth and definition to its permanent collection. One of the finest and most distinguished living Canadian artists, Eyre's art is found in every important public, corporate, and private collection in this country and has been exhibited in more than 65 solo and 250 group exhibitions around the world. I want to extend my deep appreciation to Ivan, who couldn't join us here today, for his vision, his magnanimity, and his extraordinary good graces in making this gift to the McMichael, to the people of Ontario, and to all Canadians as a legacy of his triumphant career as an artist living and working in Canada, and now strengthening the national fabric. The bronze sculptures will be permanently installed on the grounds in a fully accessible open-air gallery and garden that will be blended seamlessly into the forested landscape adjacent to the cemetery on the south side of the entrance roadway. Their place in the landscape, the McMichael grounds, provides viewers with a deep appreciation of the poetic relationship between art and nature, and how one might find in nature and art truth about one's own immortal being and our mortal destiny on this planet. In all its fullness, the sculpture garden will be a beautiful, spectacular artistic ensemble. Its place at the McMichael reinforces its core mission of showing how the land is our artistic muse. And now it is my privilege to turn over the podium to Mr. David Locke, who has worked in association with Ivan to make this vision come true.
Ivan, from the beginning of his career, has always created small sculptural works. I remember 12 years ago being in Ivan's studio and looking at these small, wonderful little terracottas that were lying just on his table next to where he was working. And I said to Ivan, and this is what you see here today, these were in small terracottas. And I said to Ivan, these are wonderful pieces. Would you give me permission to make a casting of a small edition of 10 of each? And so we did that. That process started 12 years ago. And as the years went by, I started to think of casting these in a monumental scale. And Ivan was very enthusiastic about the possibilities of that, because Ivan, as an artist, always did paintings in monumental scale, up until the time recently where his health just wouldn't allow him to do the massive canvases that he's become so well known for. And of course, I had no idea where we would place those pieces. I just promised Ivan that if he had the courage to write the check, which is a big check, to do the actual casting of these works, that I promised him, I said, Ivan, I will get your sculpture garden done somewhere. And, but of course, we had no idea where that would take place. But fate's always been very kind to me in my life. And about a year ago in November, Noreen Taylor, who was the CEO of McMichael, wandered into our gallery on Hazelton Avenue, where we had a historic exhibition of Canadian art underway. And Noreen spotted a painting that she dearly liked and was thinking about perhaps maybe acquiring it for gifting purposes. And then 2 hours later, my dear friend Tom Smart comes in, and he's looking at the painting. So I'm looking at the back of Tom's head from about 10 feet away, and suddenly the penny dropped. McMichael, this would be a perfect place. So when Tom had finished looking at the painting, I took Tom into the back office and ran the idea past him. Tom was extremely enthusiastic, made a trip to Winnipeg. He already knew all about Ivan, of course. And then Tom, this whole idea came together. And so it really was like a dream come true, because we couldn't think of a finer setting than McMichael. Ivan's inspiration has always come from within. All of his paintings and drawing come from his own genius and imagination. I've often heard clients saying to me, I know where that landscape is. And I've had to tell them, no, these landscapes come from Ivan's heads. They're not landscapes from anywhere, including all the figurative works and the paintings. The 9 maquettes you see on display today are the subjects of the 9 monumental works. The large reproduction of Plainskull that you saw driving in, that's the piece directly beneath the podium, will give you an idea of the scale of the pieces. They'll be erected on 3-foot bases. The foundry in Billings, Montana has now completed the work. The final thing to be done will be the patining of the pieces before they're all put on 3 flatbed trucks with the bases and the pieces and delivered to McMichael next spring for the unveiling. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge my friend Peter Sawatsky. If you wouldn't mind standing, Peter. And Peter has dedicated a huge amount of his time to assist Ivan on this project. And Peter is a very accomplished sculptor himself, who has completed monumental bronzes which I have placed throughout Canada and into the United States. I will never be able to thank him enough for assisting this project, making it the best it can be. Thank you, Peter.
I would also like to echo David Locke's sentiments when he spoke about Tom and make special mention of Tom Smart for his visionary leadership. You know, this sculpture garden and gift by Ivan Eyre will be a fitting part of Tom's legacy that will showcase just one of his many accomplishments during his tenure at the McMichael.